It's 7:01 on Sunday night, and it's time for our Sunday evening meditation. So, there's a few people tuned in already, but just before we get started, this is when it's good to get comfy. So all you really need to do is you just need to be able to hear me. You don't need to be able to see or do anything in particular. Lying down would be lovely, on the sofa or on a yoga mat, maybe on the floor if it's comfy. You really just want to be chilled, a little bit like you'd be doing Savasana at the end of yoga. You want to be that comfy. And warm would be ideal so you don't get distracted by that sensation. So maybe grab what you need to get comfy and settle in, and we'll get started in a second. And while you're doing that, I will just have a chat about the process. So after working with clients one-on-one and doing body work for many, many years, I knew that I wanted to be able to transition the skills and the offering from the table to also being able to do in-person talk sessions or maybe online talk sessions. And I started to do that a couple of years ago. When I left Sydney and came back to Byron, I started to work with people in shamanic journey work that didn't involve massage. And there was a particular client one day, and this process sort of just evolved in the session as something that person needed in the moment, which was to tune in really deeply to the messages that their body was trying to give them and that were causing discomfort and pain. And so it just sort of evolved in this one particular session where I talked this person through a meditation type process of scanning the body and tuning into the places that were getting their attention in some way. Often that's by pain. The body will often give you hurts in order to get your attention, but it could also be other ways, and we'll talk about that a bit more when we're in the meditation. And then part of the session with this client just involved them then being able to ask their body, ask the painful parts, hey, what's going on? What's happening? And it just sort of evolved from there, and it became something that was a really beautiful foundational process that I did with almost every single client, as a way to really drop in, really connect. The nervous system slows down, everything kind of drops, and the clarity of what your body needs becomes more accessible. And I think it was Gabrielle Roth who said the body doesn't lie. If it wasn't her that said it first, I think she did say it at some point, and I can definitely say that that's something that I found to be true after massaging bodies for 20-something years. The body doesn't lie. It can't hide what's going on. And the mind might. Your mind might tell you all sorts of stories or give you decoys and distractions. But your body knows the truth, and if you can drop through the stories and listen to what's going on in your body, what it wants you to do, what it wants you to stop doing, why it's getting your attention, there's gold in there. And so that's where the process came from. And now I work one-on-one with clients as a transformational mentor, mostly over Zoom sessions and also in small groups. And this process has become something that I do at the beginning of almost every single one-on-one client session, just to set that baseline of deep embodiment and deep connection with self. And then wherever we go to in the session comes from this really deep, beautiful place. So I thought Sunday evening was a nice time to offer a meditation while hopefully you've had a chilled weekend or a busy weekend and it's time to chill. Because once your nervous system has slowed down and you're feeling connected and embodied, it can lead to a really beautiful deep sleep. So hopefully that's enough time for everybody to have gotten a bit comfy and a bit settled and be able to hear me, and we can get started. I'm just going to check if there are any messages. They can come up a little bit delayed. Okay, good. No messages. Awesome. So first thing to do, we'll get started now. So first thing to do is to make sure you're comfortable and warm, and close your eyes and start taking some slow deep breaths in through your nose sighing out through your mouth. And really letting each exhale be a sigh, sort of a chance to clear anything that's holding in the belly or in the chest or in the breath. Just really using that out breath to let that go and clear on the out breath. And then after you've taken a few breaths, you can also now just let your out breath become at least 1 beat longer than your in breath. So the number of beats doesn't matter. For you it might be 3 beats in, 4 beats out, or 4 beats in, 5 beats out. Doesn't really matter, just as long as the out breath is at least 1 beat longer than the in breath. This just signals to your nervous system that all is well, that you're safe. You're just breathing like that for a couple of rounds. And then what we'll do is take your attention to the soles of your feet. So all of your awareness and your breath and your presence, your love, is now focused on the soles of your feet. And just noticing what you notice. Any sensations. Maybe there's nothing, maybe there's no feeling. Maybe you've got socks on and they feel a bit tickly under your feet. Maybe your feet are cold, maybe they're hot. Just noticing and observing. There's nothing to fix or change. This is really just about observing how the soles of your feet are in this moment. And then from there you can take your attention to the tops of your feet. And same thing, just noticing what you notice. Feeling the sensations on the tops of your feet. And then taking your attention to your ankles. Breathing into your ankles, sending your awareness into your ankles and noticing, how are they right now? Maybe you've had a busy week, a lot of running around. Your ankles and feet have been doing what you need them to do. And maybe this is the first time you've slowed down enough to check in and see how they feel. So now just noticing. And with your next breath, moving a little higher up into your calf muscle and shins, noticing your whole lower leg and how it feels right now, noticing any sensations in the muscles, in the tendons, in the ligaments, in the skin. Just observing what's there right now. And then taking your awareness to your knees. And same thing, just observing and noticing, seeing what's there right now. And then taking your attention to your upper leg, focusing on your thighs, hamstrings, noticing what's going on in this large muscle group, seeing if you can start to sense your blood moving through your body. Maybe you can feel a pulse, maybe not. Just observing the sensations present in your upper leg right now. And then taking your awareness to your hip joints. deep into both hip joints and include your whole pelvis, your pelvic bowl, the girdle there, that heavy kind of bone structure, feeling the weight of your bones on the surface where you are right now. Noticing how it feels in your hip joints, in your lower belly, reproductive organs or lower digestion. And just noticing what you notice. There can be emotion stored in these places. It can be actually anywhere in the body, but commonly it can be in the belly, in the hips. So just observing, maybe you have feelings coming up, or memories, or some other kind of sensation. So just observing and keeping on breathing, staying present to whatever's happening in your body right now. And then taking your awareness a little higher, still sort of in the belly, but just above the navel now, lower ribs, and then around that same height, but around your back, so around your thoracic spine, noticing that whole area as you breathe, feeling your ribs move in and out, noticing what you notice. Maybe you can feel some digestion happening, or lack of digestion not happening, just observing. And then taking your awareness higher now into your lungs and your whole rib cage, and around to the back of your spine at the same height, and really observing how it is for your lungs right now, how they feel, what's going on in there. Really feeling the movement of your ribs as you breathe in and out. Noticing any sensations on the skin. Tuning in. And then taking your awareness a little higher now into the sternum, up to the collarbones, including the traps, the top of the shoulders there, just really focusing on that upper band of your torso, including your back at the same height, shoulder blades, back of your heart. Tuning into your heart, into the actual muscle, seeing if you can notice your heartbeat, your pulse. Keep breathing. And then taking your awareness down to the tops of both your arms, so your upper arm from elbow up to shoulder. Observing any sensations, any observations, anything going on there right now, just being present to your upper arms from shoulder to elbow. And then taking your awareness to your lower arms from elbow to wrist. Noticing what you notice. Feeling what's there to be felt. And then taking your awareness to the palms of your hands. The palms of your hands contain loads and loads of nerve endings. One of the more dense areas of nerve endings in the body, lots of sensation there. So just noticing, feeling what you feel. Maybe with your attention there comes some tingling or some awareness, maybe not. Just observing how the palms of your hands are in this moment. And then taking your awareness to the backs of your hands, the skin on the back of your hand. How is that feeling right now? Maybe it's resting against something. If you're lying down, maybe your hands are palms up and you can feel something on the back of your hands, maybe not. Just noticing how that feels. And then taking your awareness up to your throat and neck, back of the neck. Keeping your whole focus and energy and awareness there as you breathe in and out, noticing how it feels right now, in this moment, in this part of your body. Is there tension there? Is there pain? Is there numbness? Is there nothing at all? Is there warmth, fluidity, contraction, softness? What are the descriptors that go with how your throat and neck are feeling right now? And from there you can move your awareness up into your lower jaw, up to where the joint starts to meet the ears, the TMJ joint and lower jaw, including all of your teeth, tongue, the muscle, the place where your tongue attaches in the back of your mouth. Breathing into that area and noticing how it feels. Also somewhere that can hold a lot of tension. And taking your awareness up now to your upper jaw and upper row of teeth, and where that starts to become your cheekbones. And taking your awareness now to your ears, so across that sort of middle band, including your nose, breathing and noticing what's happening there. And then taking your awareness up again to your eyes, eye sockets, eyebrow bone, temples, noticing what's happening through there, maybe the bridge of your nose, just observing. And then expanding your attention to include your forehead, up to your hairline, and noticing how it feels there right now. And then the last piece is your scalp and back of the head. So everywhere where your hair grows, or hair would grow if you haven't got hair. So from the top of the forehead all the way down, over the top of the head, over your crown, down the back of your head to the back of your neck, noticing how your scalp is. Sometimes when you tune in and slow down, you can start to feel a little bit alive there in a way that you might not have noticed before. So just observing and keeping your attention there for a minute. And then just taking a couple of deep, full body breaths in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth. A little bit of a clearing after that, but just stay inward, stay with your eyes closed. So the next piece is to scan your body and see if there's somewhere in particular that's getting your attention right now. And maybe it's super obvious. Maybe there's somewhere that's been painful all day or all week or all year. Maybe something's just buzzing right now, or there's heat or tingles or cold. It can be different ways the body will use to get your attention. And while you're all still and connected is a really good chance to notice some of those signals that could get lost in a busy day. So just observing, and then when there's somewhere that's got your attention, and if there isn't somewhere right now, if you're kind of going, there's nothing happening, pick somewhere that does often get your attention. Maybe you've got a recurring tenderness somewhere, or a recurring tightness, or somewhere that gets pins and needles sometimes. So it may not be happening right now, but you're aware of it happening at some point in your life recently, something that shows up regularly. Maybe it's migraines, maybe it's anxiety. It doesn't have to necessarily be physical. We can start a dialogue with whatever the sensations are that you experience. And so now once you feel a little bit connected to this part of your body that's got your attention, you can start now to have a little chat and ask this part of your body, and it can take a little bit of tweaking to get the wording of the questions right for you and what's going on. But it's along the lines of, hey, sore shoulder, what's going on? Why have you got my attention tonight? What do you need me to do? What do you need me to stop doing? What do you need me to know? Those are the kinds of questions you can play with the wording so that it suits you. And the responses don't come from your head. It's not something you go looking for from a mind place. It's almost an instinctual knowing. You might just find that there's an awareness that you get and you're not really sure where it came from, a response. And sometimes in my experience from doing this process with a lot of clients is often it's a reminding, something that you might already know that you need and that is good for you, and you have stopped doing it for yourself. And so it's kind of like, oh yeah, right, cool, I need to do that again. Sometimes it's something unexpected and a bit surprising. So just continuing to have that chat and ask the questions to find out what it is that your body needs from you, what it wants you to know. And once, you might not be finished yet, but because this is a live recording, I'm going to keep going, and you can always return to this later if you want more time. Once you've had a bit of to and fro dialogue with this part of your body that wants your attention, and it can go on for quite a while, it can go more detailed, you might end up on a bit of a thread and you kind of want to follow it down to where it links. But once you get to a place where you feel like the exchange is complete, there's a couple of steps. The first step is to thank your body for trusting you, for giving you the information that you need, for responding to your presence and awareness. So it's really important to offer gratitude and acknowledgement to your body. The next piece is, if there's something that your body has let you know that it needs you to do or not do, and it is something you're willing to commit to, it's a good idea to only really commit to something bite-sized, something that you're definitely committed to doing, and it's not going to upend your entire existence. You're happy to commit to whatever it is, and to make that commitment internally to yourself, to whatever it is that's asked for that from you. And if you are prepared to say yes to it, to make that internal commitment to your body. So it's a thank you and a commitment. And then you can take some deep breaths and let your attention go from that place. So what you can do after that is scan again and see if there's anywhere else tonight that now wants your attention. Sometimes it can be 2, 3, 4 places in a session, I've noticed. And it might just be one has got your attention first because it's more intense. And then there might be another one that's more subtle and more subtle. And sometimes they're linked. The messages are linked, sometimes they're not. So really just opening up and trusting that you don't really know what's going to come. You're opening up a conversation, and who knows where it will go. But that's the general process, is to tune in, connect, ask questions, start a dialogue, keep trying to find the right languaging to get the response that you need. Make a commitment if it's true for you, and then say thank you. And that's kind of it. Beyond that, you would just come out of this process gently and slowly, open your eyes slowly, move slowly, take care of yourself in any way that you need. But that's it. That's the process of giving your body the gift of your presence and awareness in a way that you might not have done ever before or recently. And then to invite your body to tell you what it needs, tell you what it knows. It's like your own personal oracle, gold mine. And it can be easy to disconnect or overlook the wisdom that it holds. I've been witness to some really amazing dialogues between a client and their body. and the level of detail or information or wisdom or requests that can come through this dialogue it can be incredible. If it's really new to you and you haven't had experience of being deeply connected to your body, it might take a few goes to sort of get the hang of it, to drop in, to understand sort of the lay of the land in terms of not thinking of the answers from your head, but to allow space for them to emerge from your body. Some of that can take practice. If you've had a long history of really ignoring your body or asking a lot of your body, it can also take a little minute for your body to sort of trust that you're listening, to trust that you will do what you say you're going to do. You will take care of it. You will keep noticing. So it's sort of like building or rebuilding a relationship. It doesn't happen necessarily instantly. So, yeah, there is that, to maybe just see. For some people it's immediate and obvious and instant and they really drop in, and for others it can take a couple of sessions to strengthen the communication. So that's it. That's the Sunday night session for this week. Maybe I should do more. Maybe it should be a Sunday night regular thing. But what I have noticed, even just from the first part of that session, without the actual conversation part, but just that body scanning part in the beginning, that's the part that I do at the beginning of each client session. And even just a lot can come up from that level of connection. I've witnessed clients soften, their voice can drop deeper, cry because they just haven't stopped and let everything drop and soften and settle in so long. And so even just that first part is a really beautiful practice to just give your body the gift of noticing and asking, hey, how are you today? Hey, how are my knees right now? So even just that first part is really beautiful. And then the second part might be something that you can use more specifically when there is something up in your body that is recurring that needs your attention. But the first part can be used a lot. Really beautiful to do, maybe if there's a conversation coming up that you've got to have that's a bit intense. It's a beautiful way to center and ground before that, before a job interview, you can do that sitting in the car before you go into a meeting that, requires your presence. It's a simple embodiment practice, a foundational body embodiment practice. And then the second piece is deepening that. So that's it. It's 7:28 Sunday night. It's time to chill. Thank you for joining me, and maybe I will do something next Sunday. Stay tuned. Thanks.